You've been arguing all week that this is President Biden's economy. When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy, because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything.
That is your president basically taking blame for nothing and putting every bit of blame on his predecessor, Joe Biden. And for everything that's good, it's to his credit, to President Trump's credit. Everything that's bad goes right to Joe Biden. This trend of Trump taking credit when things are going well has it's been going on since before he won his re-election bid. Before we get into that, Cenk, are you shocked that the president is dodging the blame for bad financial situations?
Shocked that there's gambling in this establishment. So first, we're asking a poll during the live chat. Shows live 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Check it out every day. Whose economy is this? Trump, Biden, or both? Looking forward to your answers. So we showed last week a series of videos of Trump saying, and comments saying, oh, the stock market's rising because they expect me to win, so it's my economy. Stock market's tipping, it's Biden's economy, Biden's terrible. They're rising again now, back to my economy. And so now he's here. He's like, yeah, partly mine, partly his. So what I always wonder about folks who are diehards in either camp is like, do you guys also have eyes and ears? Like, do you hear him? Do you not see how ridiculous that sounds? I'm amazed by it. But all right, here, let's give you more and see if you find all this. Maybe we'll find a way that some of you will think, oh, it's justifiable. It is. You know, all the bad parts are Biden's and all the good parts are Trump's. Let's find out.
It has to be that way. We'll listen to some of that sound shortly here. By the way, I'm not sure whether I dislike hearing President Trump's voice more or hearing your imitation of President Trump's voice. That's
no problem, Michael.
Yeah, no, okay, I just figured it out. In January of 2024, the president declared on Truth Social, which you all know is his social media network, this is the Trump stock market because my polls against Biden are so good that investors, as Cenk just mentioned, are projecting that I will win and that will drive the market up. That's in January of 2024. And just a few days ago, you'll be shocked to learn that the president proclaimed, this is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. I didn't take over until January 20th. Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. I think he just invented something called the Biden overhang. And last week he even said this.
He came in on January 20th. So this is Biden. And you could even say the next quarter is sort of Biden because it doesn't just happen on a daily or an hourly basis.
You know, I'm old enough to remember when George H.W. Bush and his administration, they were frustrated because they couldn't blame anything on Ronald Reagan because they were part of that administration. And they had to take blame for just about everything. It is presidential norm to actually blame your predecessor for some of the things that aren't going well. It doesn't know party, it's Democratic or Republican. But the sort of the switch right here, the immediate sort of pivot to it was their fault and or it's gonna be so great because of what I did and now it's their fault because exactly what I predicted was gonna happen didn't happen and it's all because of them.
Yeah. Okay, so first let me quote a member. Kevin Shea is a member on YouTube of the Young Turks and he wrote in, the buck stops over there. Okay, and that's exactly right, Kevin.
That is so good.
Right. Hit the join button. All of a sudden you pop up on the show. Okay? So now if you noticed, apparently Trump knows that it's going to get worse in the next quarter, because that's why he's like, next quarter could also be Biden's. From what I'm hearing, my tariffs are going to destroy the economy. I mean, Biden's tariffs. But wait, Biden didn't have tariffs, right? Biden, it's all Biden's fault. How could it be your economy in January of 2024 and his economy in April of 2025? How does that make sense? No. And look, if you're, hardcore MAGA and you think, no, I believe everything Trump says. When he says it's his economy, I believe it. When he says it's Biden's economy, I believe it. Like, guys, what are you doing? Like, why are you embarrassing yourself? Hitching your star to this, two-bit con man who keeps telling you to your face, when the market's up, it's me. When the market's down, it's Biden. They're like, really, guys, really? And I know, and Biden's young and dynamic. Okay, everybody wants to believe their own fantasies.
But to put it in MAGA parlance, let's go to the price of eggs, which is what he talked about at every stop on the road, and I was at a lot of them. How much eggs were? They were Biden's egg prices. Those egg prices have either gone up or remained stagnant now. Same with gas prices, even though he said you can get it for under $2 a gallon, and no one has shown a picture of a gas station where you can do that. Those were Biden's gas prices. Now are they still Biden's gas prices, or are they Trump's egg prices and Trump's gas prices? I mean, that is exactly the struggle that Trump is having, but it doesn't matter to the people who don't care what that is. They're going to blame Biden because Trump says to blame Biden, and there is a significant enough number of people, both in Congress and outside of Congress, for whom that is okay. But let's go back to this interview for a second. Trump, shockingly stuck to his absolutely terrible messaging on the tariffs, telling Americans their kids might have to deal with having fewer toys. Listen to this.
But sir, you acknowledge when you announced your tariffs, for example, you were at your cabinet meeting, you said, quote, I'm gonna quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have 30 dolls. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
Nobody has that many pencils. Also, kudos to the New York Post, to whom I never would give a kudo, but their headline the day after the president said this was "Skimp on the Barbie," which I thought was great. It's a play on shrimp on the Barbie. Yeah, that was the third time in less than a week that Trump has brushed aside concerns about the effect of his new 145% tariff on China and suggested that America should be comfortable with fewer things. I mean, it's Jimmy Carter saying, turn down your thermostat, and America going crazy over that. It's wartime rationing. I'm not comparing, the food you're getting to Barbie dolls. But the point is, the president is saying, no, we don't have to make adjustments, and no, this isn't going to hit us hard, except that you're going to have to buy fewer dolls because you can't afford more dolls because the prices are going to go up, which is exactly the opposite. Republican strategist Karl Rove slammed Trump's comments, saying on Fox News, it sounds like Mr. Scrooge. The ordinary American is like, wait a minute, I thought you were on my side. I did not think you're on the side of I need to do with less. That's Karl Rove. Trump, of course, you'll be shocked to know, didn't agree with or appreciate that jab, responding on Truth Social, which we have referred to before. I don't need to have Karl Rove of Fox News to tell me what to do. The guy's a total loser who's been wrong about almost everything. Not a huge Karl Rove fan. He won and oversaw 2 presidential elections that won. He was a recount away from losing also and being a footnote in history. It doesn't matter. I think Karl Rove is saying exactly, Cenk, what many of us are thinking when he is saying that the president is telling us, hey, you're going to have to do with less. That doesn't sound like the optimistic shining city on a hill president that Karl Rove likes.
Yeah, I'm going to do show on the foot in a second, which we all enjoy. But first, I'm going to go to more of our members because I think they make some good points, and I want to answer a question. Jerry McMullen said, that was a stereotypical corporate management answer. Everything's great due to my efforts. All these failures are another's fault. They're my actions, but it's not my fault. And there is a lot of corporate speak that goes like that, and everybody can relate to that. And that's Donald Trump right there. Okay, so great point, Jerry. Told you, hit the join button, boom, you pop up on the show. So Charles Lloyd did the same thing, and he popped up and he said the stock market runs on a 20-second cycle. He knows this and it will change on a word. Charles, here's the thing, brother. When there are empty shelves or there's supply chain issues and the prices skyrocket, and at 145%, one of those two things are guaranteed. And that's a tariff that eliminates the possibility of buying that product because it makes it so expensive, right? So when that happens, the stock market will go in a more prolonged dive. And it won't be 20 seconds, because that's the real world. And the real world has consequences in the business world. But we're all gonna see and find out together, right? And I'm telling you ahead of time, this is my easiest prediction, right? Yes, the economy will turn downwards when the 145% tariffs hit. By the way, they have begun to hit. So it's beginning now, and you'll see it over the next couple of months. And you'll get to see who was right. Was Trump right? Oh yeah, when the economy's great, me. Okay, maybe he's right. Or maybe I'm right, and then you'll get to judge. Last one, Amanda Hobson said, the guy who sits on a golden toilet is blaming children for living in excess.
Well, there is that, right? I mean, you can imagine that, first of all, even in a perfect untariffed world, most little girls and most households can't afford $40 dolls, I wouldn't imagine, for their
of course.
young girls. So that's the other thing, is this whole skewed context of what is normal anyway.
Yeah, he's sitting there going, oh, all my girls have $30. I know, because you're the guy who is pretending to be a billionaire. Well, actually, to be fair, he now is a billionaire because of his crypto scams, which is what we're gonna get to later in the show.
Exactly, that's a great segue.
Yeah, but hold on, it's the last thing. I promise what if, right? So if the shoe was on the other foot and Biden said, yeah, so what? Maybe you used to have 30 of something, now you only have 3 something. You'll have 10% of what you used to have. Republicans, what would you have done? You would have ripped his face off, right? Rhetorically, politically, electorally, and that makes sense. If he had said, yeah, maybe I'll invade Greenland, you would have said, oh my God, he's got dementia. He said mental decline. Invade Greenland? What kind of nut says that? All in the same interview, by the way. And Kristen Welker asked him, are you gonna uphold the Constitution? He said, I don't know. If Biden had said, I don't know if I'll uphold the Constitution, what would you have done if you were MAGA? You would have ripped his face off, right? Again, rhetorically and politically, I hope. Trump says it, that's fine. Okay, you tell me what's Trump derangement syndrome.
Right.
Because that one goes both ways. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.